Hello, and thanks for watching. Over the past 2 days, I posted 2 videos um, sort of describing some of the absolutely disastrous uh, elements of President Trump's performance during the interview that he gave to Axios on HBO. And I actually pointed out that the graphics he showed were outsourced to a foreign institution. And I'm going to show you now by going to that same website where I recognize those graphics from and creating them from scratch in what I hope will take less than 2 or 3 minutes. In my previous videos, I talked about Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2. Exhibit 1 is this graph seen over his shoulder of 4 different lines. That graph is showing the case fatality rate or ratio. It's the number of deaths per diagnosed case, and there's several comparisons being there, but the US is being compared to the world and to Europe. And then as a second way of explaining how well the US is doing, he presented this bar chart. The US is this blue one, and we have the lowest number of deaths per diagnosed case in this set of comparisons, and therefore, as Trump pointed out, being last is being first because we're the best. So I left areas blank here and some extra blank slides if we want to paste some things in and look at it later. But I'm going to go right to the site and try to make a short video, which for me is extremely hard. There's just so much to talk about. So, browser. The site that those data came from, those graphics, is called OurWorldInData. It's an amazing site, and I'll do another video after this with more detail, and we'll actually go through the tremendous number of phenomenal comparisons you can make using this interface with data supplied by the European Center for Disease Control. So the data is from the European Centers for Disease Control. The interface and the software is written by some scientists and programmers associated with Oxford University, and it's just simply an amazing resource. The Data Explorer is the sort of central hub for that, and it produces all sorts of graphs. You can make graphs about deaths or cases or the number of tests, whatever it might be. Going back to the one that started with cases, when you look at one of these graphs, it'll choose some countries for you. There are a number of gray lines in here. Those are all the other countries, but when you hover your mouse over them, it tells you who they are and where they go. There, I just identified Azerbaijan, which of course you probably hadn't seen data from Azerbaijan before. And then up here, Kazakhstan and Bangladesh. Excellent. So what we were shown in that interview is the case fatality rate or ratio. So this is the case fatality ratio default graphic in the Data Explorer. It comes with a warning that case fatality rate is defined as the ratio between confirmed deaths and confirmed cases. During an outbreak of a pandemic, the CFR, confirmed case fatality rate, is a poor measure of mortality risk of the disease. We explain this in detail. Come over there and see it. So they're warning us right off the bat, this is not a good measure to use. So that's already a problem. Now, I don't want to look at Mexico or Colombia. I want to look at a couple different things. So I'm going to clear the selection, boink, and I'm going to add the only important country, the United States. That's now the case fatality ratio for the United States from March through August. But we needed to have our comparisons, W-O-R-L, world, dink. Okay, now the world has a CFR going back before March because cases occurred at other parts of the world earlier than the States. So now the time scale has expanded a bit. But at the end here, the blue line here is the US, and the world is black, and we're lower. That means we're better. It's actually, if you hover over this, it tells you what date you're talking about. That's July 19th, and it gives you the exact number. We're not done yet. We needed to put in Europe. E-U-R-O-P. Oh no. There's Europe and the European Union. Which was it? Well, let's click on Europe. Okay. And let's, just to be clever, let's not spell the Europe wrong. Let's grab the European Union. Okay, so this is the 4 lines that were on that graphic. Now, we saw this part here. I'm mousing over it, so things are popping up. I apologize. But we didn't see all this squiggly stuff early in the pandemic when there weren't many cases in Europe or in the US. So one of the great things you can do on this site is you can choose your time horizon. This blue slider bar tells you what dates you want to display the information from. So there we go. This is there. It's about what, I think that might be exactly what was used in the presentation, starting March 14th or 15th. And then these are the 4 lines. The 4 lines are showing the US, the world, Europe, and the European Union. That's the graphic. Okay, Control-P, grab that thing, boink, go here, and say paste. That's the graphic we just made. Let's resize it. Let's move it up here, and we see the graphs are identical. Notice this little V-shaped hook at the bottom here. Notice there's some text here that explains some methodological issues about the European Union. They're right underneath President Trump's thumb. There's some more methodological stuff about the US. That's right here. These lines cross right there. And if you get a magnifying glass out, even some of these squiggles you can show are the same. All right, I made it. I did the first one. Awesome. Not a problem. Piece of cake. Bad choice of statistic. Weird comparisons, but it was fast. Now, the second graphic that was shown to us was this bar chart. So it must be hard to make that. It's a very different kind of chart, right? Wrong. OurWorldinData can also show you this playing out through time in a different way, showing you the comparisons as bars for different dates. All you do is you click on the play button, and it starts playing. So initially just the world had cases and deaths because there were none yet in Europe or in the US. Oh, there's the European Union and Europe. Oh, there's the United States. The European Union is in the lead. It has the highest number of deaths per case. Europe very close behind. The world in 3rd place, and the United States is last, which of course is first. But through time these things are changing. Now the European Union and Europe are starting to separate, and whoa, look at that. Oh, the US is now 3rd, not 4th. Nope, it's 4th. No, it's 3rd. No, it's 4th. So there was a period of time when the world and the US were neck and neck and changing, and now it's going to shift scale in just a second. It gets to the end, and it gives you the final graphic. And all it did at the very last second when it got expanded out is it chose a different x-axis scale to show you the largest bars possible. So there we go. Click, copy, go over here, hit paste, boink. Now the color choice was different. How upsetting. I can recolor those if we need, but take a look at the graphics, and I'll just sort of do this so you can see them. European Union on the top, Europe 2nd, world 3rd, US 4th. We have the lowest number of deaths per case. That means we're last. That means we're first, as President Trump said. So I don't know what that took me, 4 minutes, 3 minutes to make both those graphics. Those graphics are not the best ones to use. They're actually the same data, so it's not 2 different pieces of evidence, it's one. And if you had to pick one really unreliable piece of evidence to use, this is one to pick. And I think I'll leave it there and see if I've made my shortest video in history.